Flex my muscles when I was working at Henry Ford during the pandemic. And we had a lot of the nurses whose husbands were laid off and they were having difficulty getting their unemployment. So I called Lori. Now I work in Fraser, the Henry Ford, and most of the people, none of them lived in Warren. But she got their names and she did what she could to help them with their husband's situation. And for each and every candidate in here, those are the type of things that you always need to do. It's not about the title. It's not about being self-serving. And I'm going to constantly talk to you all about you all are servers. You're in a servicing position. Your job is no different than when you go to a restaurant, that nice person that come over, take your order, and bring you your food. You are to service the people of your community. And once you lose sight of that, you're no more good to them. So take that little example that I gave you about what Lori did. If someone come to you and you can't help them, you're supposed to. Now I'm going to turn this over to Olu.
Great job, great job. We got a great president and her hat looks better than mine right now. At the next one, I'm gonna surprise you, right? I'm gonna talk to Michelle so I can get some bling bling on my hat. Right? So this time, if you have index cards, we want you to write a question down for whatever candidate it may be for, and we'll read the question off, and for whatever candidate it's for, you come up and answer that question. What are your thoughts on the recent police brutality, and what will you do to prevent it in the future? This is for Dimas. Yes. 45 seconds. You can use the mic if you like.
Okay. Well, that situation, obviously everyone saw that on the news. You know, these officers obviously are lacking training at that level. I mean, you have to know how to treat people. You have to know how to address people. You have to basically know the issues that, you know, are in the city. And again, what was taking place there was just outrageously, inexcusably not acceptable. So I'm going to probably be talking to Commissioner William Dwyer and just basically share with him. I'm the Human Resources Director for the City of Warren, and basically implement that we have to have more discipline in the police department. You have to be able to basically look at a situation and be able to resolve it. And there is no place for violence against an individual that's being arrested or basically taken into custody. What we witnessed there was definitely a shame on the community.
Your slate shows no diversity on the advertisement. Why Warren is a diverse community?
Well, to be quite honest with you, that slate, it was difficult to find candidates that we felt was, you know, somewhat qualified. But I agree that we probably should have had some diversity in that Super 7 team, because we were so disappointed with a certain current council that we wanted to make sure we had some real changes to take place. But yes, I have to honor that request. I think that diversity would have been a good opportunity to try to find a candidate that would meet that criteria.
Okay, we got about 1 minute left. Got one more for you, but we might go over a little bit tonight.
It's sorry.
Okay. The last one is just city center planning. You talked about a hotel. We want to know why a hotel? Listen to the citizens. Do we want a hotel?
Well, I think that basically where that came from, it would be the only 5-star hotel within the city. You know, Robert Gibbs designed the project, it was a mixed use, housing, and I believe with one of the largest automobile companies across the street. I think that I was told that General Motors said that they would basically reserve the whole top floor because of all the people that come and go to the General Motors Tech Center. But at the same token, I think it would be a nice piece of the mixed use. It'd be the only 5-star hotel in the county of Macomb, and I think it would also support General Motors Corporation. I think that they possibly had some input with Robert Gibbs as to what they would like to see in some of their needs. And I think that with the taxes they pay in the city, and trust me, I was a big supporter of General Motors expanding in the city, along with Chrysler Corporation. The dollars that they produce really help out our budget to be able to provide the services we need in our community. Other than that, I think that pretty well gives you my read on that.
Okay, thank you. Let's give him a hand. As mayor, your most important appointment is the police chief. How are you going to find one, and what qualities will you look for?
Well, I think first, I'm very familiar with all the command officers for the city of Warren, and I think first I'd want to look internally to find a candidate or interview candidates for that position, just due to the fact that I would like to have someone that's familiar with the city, that has worked in the city, knows the community, knows the fabric of the community. I think I would probably look internally first before I would go outside looking for another candidate, because I feel that it's good to find a well-educated, good trained, someone that's worked within the department, worked their way up through the ranks, and know the community basically inside and out. I wouldn't rule out to go outside and look for a candidate, but I think my first stab at it would try to find a candidate that has good credentials, solid education, knows the city, and has a good working relationship with the officers within the city.
Mr. George Dennis? Please clap for everybody coming in. Nice job, please.
Well, good evening. Just a little bit about my background. I grew up in Warren, graduated from Warren High School, attended Central Michigan University, earned my bachelor's and my master's degree. I served as a council president in the city of Warren for 14 years. I was always able to work with all the administrations, there were 4, to move this city forward, to basically provide the services and the needs of our community. I was there to cut the ribbon on the senior citizen housing complex, phase 1, and then phase 2, to basically make affordable housing for our senior citizens. I also was very effective with our fire commissioner, Skip McAdams, to basically launch and develop a cadet program to fill all the vacancies in our fire department, because the needs and the job opportunities were just not there. But this cadet program really was sensational, and we had, I think, close to basically 70 people applied, and we were going to pay their tuition so they could go to school, we would pay their tuition, and they'd become firefighters in the city of Warren. Other cities came to us and said, geez, how did you ever create and come up with that concept? I guess it's like thinking out of the box. We couldn't recruit enough firefighters, but with that effort, we now have a fully funded fire department and filled the vacancies that were really undermanned. I really want to see a fully funded fire department and a fully funded police department. We've had some issues in the city of Warren, quite controversial, and basically stems from some individuals, some council members that had differences with the mayor, and as a result of that, we had a $250 million city center development submitted to our city. It was designed by Robert Gibbs, who basically worked for Taubman and Ford Motor Company and the Fords, and this development was beautiful. The Fords and Taubman built city centers and streetscapes all over the country and even in Europe. It was a shame, and a lot of damage was done as a result of that project not being passed. It would have been a catalyst to encourage families to move to Warren. It would have been a catalyst for more business to expand and move to our city and basically provide better tax base. You know, the bottom line is this: you have to listen to the citizens of the community. The city of Warren is the people's house, and you have to be able to listen to the needs. All the services in our community, they have to be updated. They have to be providing the services that residents want that will attract people to Warren. I've always said that good services, lower taxes, and good schools attract people to your community. With that, I just wanted to also mention that I have been endorsed by the mayor of the city, James Fouts, who served for 14 years. They couldn't beat him at the ballot box, so they basically put a proposal on the ballot, 12 years for all elected officials. I'm also endorsed by our police commissioner, Bill Dwyer, and our fire commissioner, Skip McAdams, and the Chamber of Commerce. There's a lot of work to do in Warren, but I'm going to lead this city, and I want a city council that I can work with. Someone said, oh, geez, you're supporting these 6 council members, but again, it's not rubber stamps, it's just good communication, good discussion, good debate, and work for the citizens of Warren. Thank you.
Thank you. As mayor, your most important appointment is the police chief. How are you going to find one, and what qualities will you look for?
That's a good question. So we need someone who has experience. We need someone who has training and understanding and has a good grip on a city the size of Warren, being the 3rd largest in the state. So we also need to be mindful of, we have an amazingly diverse community, so we need to make sure that any candidates have a background and have an understanding for what that means. For me, that includes as much of it as a national search. I think that when we look, we deserve the best. And that it means that that door is open to any candidate that's willing to put their resume in. We need to also set the expectations. So what is the standard? What do we expect our city to do? What is the performance? And I think that includes data collection and metrics measurements. We have professional organizations that can help guide these processes, and I would definitely lean into that.
What is your plan to ensure Black businesses have an equitable opportunity to access city contracts and economic development funds? Lori Stone.
Really, you, Lord?
You came at 8 o'clock.
It's a big job. Better have a plan. Well, number 1 is economic development. So we have access to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and we need to be drawing down more of their services, whether it is business development plans, training, and making sure people who are interested, especially Black potential owners, have a pathway to find their passion. When it comes to contracting for the city, we need to make sure that business owners know the process. It can be confusing, and so the biggest is if you don't know the path in, you're never going to have a yes at the other end. So making sure that we're upfront, walking business owners through, and making sure, encouraging them to participate in bids for city contracts. Is that the short answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just stay there for a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna call Dimas up in a minute as well. This is a 2-part question.
Yes.
Dimas, I'm sorry. Help me. Don't feel bad. My name is Olu Jubari, so don't try to spell it. You'll be wrong. So for the both of you, I don't need that. As mayor, your most important appointment is the police chief. How are you going to find one, and what qualities will you look for?
That's a good question. So we need someone who has experience. We need someone who has training and understanding and has a good grip on a city the size of Warren, being the third largest in the state. So we also need to be mindful of, we have an amazingly diverse community, so we need to make sure that any candidates have a background and have an understanding for what that means. For me, that includes as much of it as a national search. I think that when we look, we deserve the best. And that it means that that door is open to any candidate that's willing to put their resume in. We need to also set the expectations. So what is the standard? What do we expect our city to do? What is the performance? And I think that includes data collection and metrics measurements. We have professional organizations that can help guide these processes, and I would definitely lean into that.
Okay, now Lori Stone, would you please come up? Thank you. Want to give a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes. My name's Lori Stone. I'm currently a third-term state representative, proud to represent the 13th House District. I'm currently serving the eastern portion of Warren and a portion of Detroit. My first 2 terms, I represented the western portion of Warren and all of Centerline. I, at this point, have represented roughly 95% of our community. And I've taken pride in connecting with residents throughout the city, serving them. I have utilized this platform to make sure that I'm having an open dialogue with community members. I'm proud of the service I've provided. Over 4,000 community members who've reached out for assistance in navigating state government. I've been able to help over 2,000 in helping navigate the UIA crisis during COVID, and I'm looking forward to taking my experience from the state capitol to City Hall.
Okay. Lori, your first question is, as opposed to your previous mayoral candidate, how will your administration reflect the diversity of the city of Warren?
So as the third largest city in Michigan, we have diverse populations that look like a lot of different people. It looks like racial, ethnic, cultural, including language, religion, and traditions. And the first part is reaching out into the community and making sure people realize that their elected leadership works for them. And it's important that they know that, that their voice matters and is being considered when making decisions for the community. So it can be starting with direct voter outreach, direct constituent outreach, but it also looks like within government, whether we can have work study and internships, and we have young people who get firsthand experience in local government and have the opportunity. Having those opportunities opens doors. We also need to lower barriers to government. I say when we took government class in high school, a lot of people didn't understand how important it was on their lives and how decisions other people make impact them every day. And so we need to make sure people know how to navigate local government and why it's important that when they have a concern, they weigh in on it. In addition, we need to lower barriers, including making sure we translate documents by language, utilize language translation services as much as possible, and making sure that any concerns in approaching government are addressed.
How will you accomplish transparency in your administration, including the Warren Police Department?
Yeah, transparency is key to government. Right now, we see record distrust in our elected officials in our government. And the first thing we need is communication. For me, as a state representative, it means social media. People know where I am, what I'm working on, pretty much every day of the week. It means communication through town halls, community forums, where people know that they can express their concerns, ask their questions, and get answers. It looks like, again, direct outreach. We're not waiting for people to come to City Hall to share their concerns. We're out on porches, we're out in neighborhoods, we're out at parks, connecting with residents where they are. I take great pride in doing monthly community conversations so I can report out what I'm working on, answer the questions, and take concerns back with me. I'd like to continue that in some capacity in the mayoral position. And transparency also means, interaction between levels of government and with city council. And one of the frustrations is kind of that lack of communication. And my commitment to the community is I will work with whoever the residents elect as their voice on council.
Okay. And will you make appointments to the DEI and the Veteran Commission?
Absolutely. I'm excited to have appointments, commissions, and a representation in our community that represents our values.
Okay. As I asked the previous candidate, what will you do to remove this black eye that the city of Warren has from previous administrations and their interaction working together?
Yeah, the first part is the commitment that Warren needs leaders that are working together. And I'm already working together in my current capacity. I'm working together with candidates to make sure that they are they're creating those relationships. Every election is a job interview. If you're not out there talking to voters, answering questions, and sharing your vision of where you want to go, I believe that that is the solution to being hired into a position such as mayor, such as city council, or any elected position.
Thank you very much, Lori. Our first candidate that is here, Michelle Nard. Michelle, would you come up and give us a little brief platform of whom you are and your position that you hold right now?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to thank the Black Democratic Caucus for inviting me and allowing me to come to speak about what I want to do and where I want to take the city. I am currently two-time seated county commissioner. I'm also vice chair of SIMCOG. I also sit on the board of the Regional Review Committee at SIMCOG. I also sit on their, I am vice chair of their Traffic and Safety Division. I also am on the MAC board for agriculture and tourism, and I got on those boards on purpose because I wanted to bring things to Warren. You want to just kind of tell what I want to do?
Okay. Okay, your first question as mayor is, how will your administration reflect the diversity of the city of Warren?
Right now, as we know, the administration is all one-sided. I aim to put women, men, there, and we always look at diversity as color, but there's also other diversities in our city that we probably don't even recognize. There's people with certain hearing disabilities or speaking disabilities, but it does not mean that they can't handle jobs. And so I aim to look for those people and to do a search to try to put all types of diversity in so that when people walk up to the counter or they ask a question, they'll have somebody that looks like them and even act like them.
Thank you. The second question is, how will you accomplish transparency in your administration, including the Warren Police Department?
Now, transparency is a big thing with me, and what I love about being on the Board of Commissioners, we have all departments come before us, and they tell us what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, before we give money, because we kind of lost that in Warren, where they don't recognize that the city council is the one that hold the purse string. And so the mayor makes certain decisions and they have to approve it. And see, I'm understanding of that because of the way we run our situation there in the county. And so to be transparent, we need to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. There should be no secrets about how much money you received in a department and where you're spending it, how you're spending it, when that project is going to be done. And that's what I aim to do. I don't see that in the city, and I aim to try to implement that.
And will you make appointments to the DEI and the Veterans Commission?
Oh my gosh, we are right now the Purple Heart City. I am currently working with Don Brown to make Macomb County a Purple Heart county, and we're also going to work with the governor. She's trying to make the state a Purple Heart state. So I'm very interested in the veterans, and I think we have more veterans than most of the people in the county. One thing you didn't mention, I know we're the third largest city in the state, but we're also the largest city in Macomb County, and I want us to start looking and acting like it.
On that note, we all understand that Ward has had a black eye for a long time. What will you do to help improve not only the image, but the availability of the necessary things that the citizens of Warren need?
The one thing that I've learned to do, being born in a home where I had a Republican father and a Democratic mother, that gave me a mix of what each of these parties wanted. And the one thing that they had in common was the people, the American people. So I don't just, when I get elected, I just can't take care of my Democrats. I have to be able to speak and talk to every single person in my community. And that's what I learned. So until we learn to come together as a people and put aside politics, which is one of my slogans, people over politics, I'm so serious about that. Because what matters to me is if the people are okay. Can I just say one more thing? I worked in a company where the owner would come in and some of the people were having trouble getting to work, and his thing was, you know what, I gotta fix that. So he opened up and made a department where we could all get a car so that everybody can come in. If you go in that parking lot right now, you'll see a nice car in that driveway. And the reason he did that, he said he didn't feel successful if the people that were working underneath him weren't successful. And so that's what I want to aim. I want the people to be successful, even the people that I appoint, people that I represent. I want them to be successful.
Okay. And at this moment, if there's any questions from anyone in the audience that is not a candidate, would you please pose it now? No question? Well, thank you very much, Michelle.
You're welcome.
And the official Democratic Black Caucus, thank you so much for putting this together, all the hard work that you guys are doing to give us candidates a platform. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you for being here. I'm glad they didn't put all the electeds together, because a lot of you who are running for office are my constituents too, and so I hope to earn your vote. My name is Mai Xiong, and I'm currently serving my second term on the Macomb County Board of Commissioners. I've been a strong, independent voice. I fought to keep public transportation running for our seniors, veterans, and those that don't have access to cars. And Martha T. Berry, our senior home for those that need additional help. I fought to bring back road repair funding to Warren and 911 and public service funding. I also fought to keep a grant writing position for the animal control department. Because I care a lot about our fur babies. As a county commissioner, I have had to serve and make decisions, difficult decisions, but always in an open public forum under the Open Meetings Act. And I plan to bring this level of transparency into the clerk's office by not holding election commission meetings private and including everyone in the process. I have done a lot of things as commissioner the past 3 years, but one of the things that I'm most proud of is not what I did in the boardroom, but what I did outside of that. And that was being a role model for my children. It was driving people to the polls and for first-time voters, and explaining to them that you couldn't vote, you couldn't cross-vote in a partisan primary, or your ballot would be spoiled. It was reminding people or telling them that they needed to sign the outside of their envelope, otherwise their absentee ballot wouldn't be counted. These are all things that seem so simple to us, but for those that may have language or cultural or other barriers like income, a lack of transportation, and no vacation time to take off to go and vote at the polls, it's a very difficult thing to do. And as clerk, I will champion voter accessibility and voting rights because it is so important. A little bit about me. I was born in a refugee camp in Thailand in 1984. My father was an ally to the U.S. when him and my family lived in Laos. They happened to live in northern Laos on the border of Vietnam. So my father was recruited when he was 17 years old. In 1975, when the U.S. pulled out of Laos, anyone that was Hmong was ordered to be persecuted. So my parents had to flee out of Laos. They hid in the jungles for 4 years because they thought the Americans were going to come back. When it was clear that they weren't, they fled to Thailand, neighboring Thailand, and that's where I was born, in a refugee camp. I came here when I was 3 years old, a little younger than my youngest daughter today. And I was the first in my family to have a full public school education experience. My parents understood the importance of coming to America because here we have equal opportunities. This is such an amazing country because you can, regardless of where you came from, who you are, you have equal opportunity to run for office, to vote, and to make decisions. So these are things that we take for granted, but as a person of color, these are things that I find myself to be very conscious about. And as clerk, I will make sure that we hire people who look like us so that when people go to our clerk's office that they can be comfortable in doing business with the clerk and offering language access wherever necessary. As a person of color, as people of color, we constantly have to prove ourselves. I ran for office in 2020. No one wanted to endorse me. No one wanted to talk to me. Everyone thought I was going to lose. I had my phone hung up on me several times, and I overcame that, got elected, and got reelected last year. And a lot of you who ran for office or helped other candidates, you know how difficult it is to run for office. So I did not take this decision lightly. But at the end of the day, I had lots of residents who believed in me, that I could do this job, and who rallied behind me. And so that is one of the main reasons why I am running. And I want to thank the Black Caucus for organizing and for being a force for change, because that's what we need in order to have a seat at the table. Unfortunately, there are some so-called leaders in our community that don't want people to vote. They don't want them to run for office because they know that when we have a seat at the table, we can drown their voices. But as a public official, I will make sure that we make it easier for people to vote, for them to know about the democratic process, how to run for office, so that our children can have equal opportunity in the future as well. So I am asking for your vote. Every year we say this election is the most important one. Well, this one is. And so please talk to your friends, families, and neighbors and have them come out and vote. Thank you so much.
Next will be Donna Caumartin, candidate for Warren City Council at large.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Caumartin, running for Warren City Council at large. I've been a resident here for 43 years, raised my family, and made Warren my home. I definitely have the experience to be on council, the background needed to assist our residents openly, and supporting the community with open transparency. I've always been a phone call to everybody when I was on council. I served on the Planning Commission for 11 years and was on the Warren City Council for 8, served as the council vice president. There were people after I had left council that had still called me for assistance and wanted to know in certain areas what to do. I've been in Macomb County as a realtor for 35 years, so I know what's important to our home values. We have to have, no matter what mayor gets elected, it's really important that we look at who's going to be there and that we communicate with them and that we make it all possible for everybody, that our communication lines are opened up to receive and to hear and to move the city forward, because without moving the city forward, we get stuck and we can't go anywhere. So we can't move, we can't do anything that is going to be progressive for this community. It's a desirable place to live. We want to make it that. We want to make our home values where they are appreciating. We want people to want to live in Warren and bring in our parks and recs definitely need rehab, that is for sure. The bathrooms are in very poor condition, so there's a lot of areas that need to be addressed with that. Knowing the property values and what kind of investments, when I was on the Planning Commission, it was great because I knew what kind of developments went in. You know, the site plans, the planning department has neighborhoods, community, connecting, maybe doing open meetings where you get participation with the citizens, so you know that their voices are being heard. I've served and worked with experience on the grants with the police and the fire department. We had reconfigured the whole fire department with the actual billing, and that has really increased where our city has gone, because now we have better equipment. Before, we used to have equipment that broke down all the time. So all those things that we put into place, they really have come forward and made our city a better city. Development for our youth in the community, and that's what the Parks and Recs programs, having some diversification so it meets everybody's needs. Try to find out what the community needs and desires. Oh, sorry, I have a lot more to say too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then really just unity between all people, kind of having diversification on our commissions is what I would like to do for the general public and everybody in this area of Black Caucus. Thank you.
At this time, we're gonna have Joycelyn, would you come up and let us know a little bit about what you're running for, and I have a few questions I'll pose to you after you do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone, and my condolences to you, sis, and the loss of your son. Joycelyn Howard, write-in candidate for Warren City Council, at large. A lot of people are asking, why am I going to be a write-in candidate? We lost about 1/8 of 1% in the general, but I'm not running because being a sore loser. I'm running because people run around and stuff. And so many people have called, text, inbox me, tried to share and say, listen, we need you there. And I'm going to come back to your point about the South Side in just 1 second, sis. But my major concern with running is because I have been in Warren for nearly 20 years, living, purchasing a home. I started coming to Warren, visiting with my church around 2002. It's now 2023, and in those nearly 21 years, I haven't seen any significant changes. I sat on the Warren Planning Commission for 11 years. For 7 of those years, I served as the chair, and we had some developments, but most of those developments were party stores, liquor stores, gas stations. And I'm concerned in the next 4 years that it will look exactly the same as it looks right now. Because there is not a plan that I can see to go forward and to advance this city. We have a lot of infighting, we have a lot of bickering, we have a lot of name calling, we have a lot of political smearing, but nothing toward advancement. And if I look at the communities around Warren, and on the east in Detroit, Detroit in the last 20 years has changed significantly, and I can put my finger on it and see the difference. If I look at Sterling Heights, I can put my finger on it and I can identify when the changes began. If I look at Waterloo, if I look at Troy, you can see significantly when it began to grow and change. And in 20 years, I have not seen anything. The things that we did as a city, on the planning commission, we have a couple of major developments. Of course, we see the improvement to GM, but that was on their property. We see what happened to Stellantis, but that's on their property. We have the development at Myers at 10 and Shader, where they actually tore down Mai County. That's a shopping center, and that's one development. But where do we see a unification, a total tied-in effort to improve the city? And my concern is that 4 years from now, 4 years ago, and 4 years forward, that it's the same city. And that gives me pause, not just for the children who are growing up, but also for the seniors and for those who have purchased homes and for those who do business in the city. I'll share with you this. I see communities now, and I should say neighbors now, who I see in other communities who live in Warren. That means they're leaving out of the city to go someplace else for entertainment, for food, for family, and that tells me that they want it, but they can't get it here, and that's a problem. And that's because we have a leakage of necessary resources. And if we don't be very aware about who we are electing, the policies that they have, you will look up 4 years from now and it will be exactly the same. And I know that's a sobering thought, but that's the truth.
Ms. Howard, many people have asked me, and I'm sure you've probably gotten this answer, exactly what is a council person at large and what is the responsibility of that position? They want to vote for people, but everyone wants to know exactly what I'm voting for them to do.
So the council person at large, of course, the city council is the purse strings of the city, but they're also the legislative body of the city. They make policy. And if you're looking at speed bumps, if you're looking at street lights, if you're looking at that, that's coming from the council table. So you have to find a way to engage people. And I'm going to say this, Jack, and I'm going to be a little radical here, but I'm a little annoyed, if you will, with people who are just politicians but who are not serving the community every day. Yes. That they run on name recognition, but you don't see them in the community. If you mark my life, I've been down to the south side. I've been to one of the harvests. I pass out food. I give out book bags. I gave out 120 book bags just 2 weeks ago when Pastor Osminski's fire container for his food burned up. We were down there and we filled that container up. Yes. We give things to the Salvation Army. We actually did during the height of the George Floyd situation in 2020, Mr. Lafferty-to, we did an event in the park talking about removing the stigma of being black in America. Joel was there as well. Bringing the community together. You cannot just be a politician, you have to be a servant. And we have too many politicians and not enough service for the community. So, to your point, Jack, what we're looking for, the city council at large, we actually represent the entire city, but what we also do is that we make policy, we hear concerns, and we are the purse strings. But we should also be visionaries. We should also be able to promote things that are healthy for the community. And if you don't have a vision, you only have a scheme. All right now. It's real simple. And I'm a little bit impassioned now because I see it. I see nothing. And that's why I'm back in the race as a writing candidate.
Now, I have heard you speak about the charter. I know you can't give us all details, but what are what are the 3 top things in the charter that you feel as though need to be addressed or changed?
There's top 3 things in the charter. We talk about diversity a lot of times. One of the things in the charter is our buying and our purchasing. We do not have a provision in there that deals with minority purchasing. We have somewhat of a $500 million, Mr. Lafferty can correct me if I'm wrong. There should be a special designation for minority and women-owned businesses. That way, diversity brings about innovation, and innovation brings about jobs. And if you do not have innovation, creativity, and diversity, you will have the same status quo. So dealing with our purchasing agreement. I also will talk about, we will also look at different people who are sitting on boards and commissions. I think we need to look at that, and also taking a look at our charter where it comes to updating our charter. Is our charter antiquated? Do we need to make some improvements? So there should be a charter revision commission going forward. And again, I sat to a point. I sat on the planning commission. We were able to implement the first master plan in over 50 years. And that's a guiding document for improvement in the city. And yet that document is not being implemented. So we are late to the game. And that's the reason why we're not getting the necessary investments, is because we are not implementing what's currently there. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any questions from anyone in the audience? Now that you understand what her position would be if she's elected.
So what are the plans to actually implement those laws or whatever is on? Yeah, what is?
So in terms of those charter revisions or those implementation, first of all, that's done from the council, and it's also some of those things are done in subcommittees. So there are commissions that are already in place. You want to be able to move those agendas forward. You can't sit on them, and you have to be able to find a consensus within the council that want to move these things forward. There is definitely a lot of apathy when it comes to moving things forward in the city. So things tend to sit. I know Mr. Lafferty has talked about things not going up to administration, but we have to find a way to navigate these differences.
Next up is Mr. Charles Perry, candidate for Warren City Council, District 1.
Good evening. My name is Charles Perry, and I'm running for Warren City Council, District 1. I'm a Vietnam combat veteran, and after I came back from Vietnam, I decided to go into information technology. IT is my background. I'm currently retired. I'm currently on the Zoning Board of Appeals, been on that for a little over 2 years. And that really opened my eyes on how a city is run. And once I seen how these things have happened, you know, how diverse Warren has become in the last 24 years that I've lived here, there have to be some changes. We have, what I've learned on the zoning board is you have people coming in and want to build multi-level structures, apartments, and single-family home zones, and we can't have that. We want to have more green spaces for Warren. We have these small little patches of green spaces that need to be developed even a little bit more. This evening I was out walking, knocking doors, and I ran across a couple in the historic district of Warren, and there's a park across the street from them. And she was talking about, well, you know, this is nice, you know, but they wanted to build multi-level homes there a few years back, and they fought it, and they won. Not the people, but the citizens in that area won. Now these green zones, you know, they have benches and places for kids to play and talk and take care of things. But I also worked at EDS as an infrastructure analyst, and I had a diverse team. I had people from China, India, Japan, Africa, and we all got along great. The diversity, we learned our cultures from each person. We'd get together and people would bring food from their countries, and we'd share that. And we'd talk about the different things that was necessary. I was also infrastructure analyst for EDS, for GM, lost my train of thought. Well, when the plant shut down, it was my job to go there and to ensure that all the infrastructure was up and running.
Right.
And so that's pretty much what I did, you know. I'm originally from Chicago, came here, and been here for 34 years with my family and raised 2 kids. Graduated high school from Centerline, lived in Centerline 10 years, lived in Warren for 24. So that's my story. And once again, Charles Perry, hope you'll vote for me August 8th, and have a good evening.
Next up is Miss Melody Magee, candidate for Warren City Council District 1.
Well, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm going to read quick for you. Get past this 3 minutes real quick. My name is Melody Magee, and I am running for Warren City Council and District 1 to improve economic development while helping those in need. I really do have the heart to serve. That's my slogan, because I care about the people. Just to tell you a little bit about my experience, I've been in Warren now for 23 years. I was elected precinct delegate 3 times. I am a current commissioner. That's why I was late at the commissioner meeting for senior housing, where I not only give recommendations but approve certain things within what seniors really want. Keeping their rent at low cost. We just added another voting machine for our seniors, and really help with whatever needs that they may have, case management and other things for our seniors. I'm a board member for the Macomb St. Clair Michigan Works. I work with the youth program. I'm on the board for the youth program. I was person who suggested that we bring in more youth skilled programs, and they have been approved. I was on the board for the Explore Boy Scout program, where we brought new programs for skilled trades for our youth in Macomb County. I have 20 years experience in leadership, manufacturing, and purchasing. I approved over $60 million work for new contracts for General Motors, and worked for General Motors for 15 years. I have 10 years approval experience for budgets, subcontracting, supplier proposals, and I have a master's degree in human resources, organization development, and a bachelor's degree in business administration. I am also certified in Lean Six Sigma certification, and I believe I'm the only candidate that is certified in diversity recruitment. Okay? Make sure I'm mentioning that. Okay? So, I think my top priorities, my number 1 priority was to we speak of people of color. I'm happy to see everybody here, but one of the main things that I don't see is enough community. And I think we should be working as candidates to first get people registered to vote. And that's one of the things that I've mainly been working on, as well as my top items on my list, because we need those people to be registered to vote in order to vote. We only had 15% voting last year. I want to improve it for this year. So I intend to approve the budgets that include parks for our citizens, but I really want to design the parks. I have a certification in interior design, so I really like that type of stuff. Shift the city tax revenues to the most needed areas, such as the south side of Warren. Bring living wage jobs, youth programs, and recreational services at the park. The park, I want it to be mainly for our youth. I want to have programs and fun activity there. Providing resources and affordable senior housing within District 1. I want a resource center in District 1. Provide safer streets, crime prevention, using new technology. I think we don't use enough new technology in our city overall. And streamline city services to help small businesses and attract more residents. The more people we have, the more we improve our city, the more people gonna wanna come. Embrace inclusion in the entire community. I was co-chair working at one time with the city of Warren to try to improve diversity, equity, and inclusion in our city, and I think that is very important. And I'll keep saying that. If you're for diversity, then you would include the faces of color on your slate.
Period.
Yes. Period. So that's pretty much what I have. Like I said, I want to provide better homes and community services for all of us. I want better services for our seniors. And pretty much I've been working on that over the years. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. My name is Melody Magee, and I am running for Warren City Council in District 1. I lived in the city of Warren for 23 years now, 23 plus years now. I lived here and worked in the community. I am a commission for the the Commission for Senior Housing. I am on the board for Macomb, Michigan Works, as well as work with Macomb Community College in the Skilled Trades program. I do talent. I place talents in the areas of skilled trades and in manufacturing. I have done that for over 20 years. I previously worked for General Motors for 15 years in manufacturing and recruitment along with purchasing. So I'm very much involved in the community. I've worked with veterans as well as our youth in the school, and I still go out and I speak to our youth regarding skilled programs. So that's just a little bit about myself.
Okay, your first question, Melody, is do you promise to work for a new city charter?
I will work towards a new city charter and revising the one that we have, because I want it to be clear and for all to understand. So yes, I promise that.
Do you promise to have 4 community conversations a year, keeping in touch with those that voted for you, making sure that they understand and they have an opportunity to tell you what they need?
Yes, I promise to do so, and I would like to continue to be involved with my state representative town halls, where we're both there in my community, in order for me to hear the feedback and respond to our community constituents.
And what will you do to make Warren a leader in supporting all its residents and bringing new innovation to the city services?
Well, first thing I would like to do is bring a resource center where we can present to our community in District 1 some of the new technology and things that we're doing in order to move our city forward. I will provide feedback to them by communicating with them on a monthly basis or bi-monthly basis, of however they like it. You know, we have a very conservative city here. And I also would like to send out surveys where I can get feedback from people who may not want to be seen in public, and to provide me with some true information or how they feel about the city and the changes that they need to have take place.
Okay. How have you established a relationship with your diverse community? And what will you do to improve that relationship, since Warren is so much diverse?
Well, the first thing I did when I decided to run for office is I talked to different groups. I went and spoke with the Chaldean Foundation, as I spoke to the Bangladesh group, as well as the Asian group. And so I wanted to get some feedback from them on what they needed in the city of Warren, especially within the area of District 1. And I will continue to do so. I became a member of the Chaldean Foundation. I've been invited to quite a bit of their events in which I attended. I changed the language on my literature in order to make sure that I can communicate with them properly, letting them know that I do want to establish a relationship with them, and I'm going to work on their behalf.
Okay. Thank you, Melody. information about yourself.
All right.
Let them know what you're running for.
Well, good evening, everyone, and first of all, thank you to the official Democratic Black Caucus in Macomb County for the invitation. I'm honored to be here tonight, and I serve as the councilman for District 2. And this is my first term. I'm seeking a second term, so running for re-election. And a little bit about me, I've been a resident of Warren for 45 years, my entire life. And I think I've known Lori Stone all about 41 of those years. So
You're too kind.
You're welcome. We grew up together in our home church of St. Mark at 9 and Ryan. And still there at St. Mark, that is my home church. I serve as one of the music ministers there, been there for over 30 years as one of their music ministers. I have a family of 5, my wife Kelly, my 3 children. My oldest has now moved out and is on his own, and I have 2 beautiful daughters, one going to Warren Mott High School, where both Kelly and I graduated from, and my youngest that still likes to cuddle with me is 12 years old. She's at Beer Middle School. So involved in work. I work at Comerica Bank. I'm Vice President of Technology and Operations. I've been there for 20 years. And so I have a terrific career. I have a wonderful family life. I have a terrific church life and a political life. And I was raised to believe that those that have the capability to serve have a responsibility to serve. And I think all of us in this room can agree with that. That's why we're here. And we take it seriously. I take voting very seriously, encouraging people door to door as the centerpiece of my campaign each and every day that I'm going out. I'm skipping door knocking tonight, one night only, and encouraging people to go out and vote. And I see the voter rolls on my list, and I see in some of our more tenured citizens, our seniors, wise across the board. They vote in every single election. Doesn't matter if it's for dog catcher, they vote. And then I see it slide down as we get to our younger people, and we really need to develop and cultivate a more educated and informed voting population in our younger citizens. They really need to understand how important it is. All politics is local, and it couldn't be even more important as we stand at the cusp of electing a brand new administration in this city after 16 years.
Your first question is, do you promise to work for a new charter?
I do, and I'll tell you why. If there is any person in this room that knows the charter better, I'll challenge you. But we have had several challenges to the charter over the last 4 years. It's no secret. We have gone to court over many different items to defend the charter. That is the council's responsibility, to serve the citizens of Warren and to defend the city charter. And we've had to do that. Unfortunately, we've had to do it several times in court. But there are ambiguities throughout the charter. There are exclusions, as Mr. Hall pointed out, in the charter. It is dated. It's from 1957, and it's a copy of another city's charter we started with. We've made modifications, but it is indeed out of date. We need to have a charter commission, and I would go as far as to say that we should even explore a weak mayor form of government and look at a city manager form of government that really looks at the key operations of the city, removes the politics from this. Warren has been known for their brass-knuckled politics for far too long, and I think perhaps moving to a city manager form of government may be indeed the right way to go for our city.
Okay. Mr. Lafferty, do you promise to have at least 4 community conversations with the people, making sure that you know their needs and their wants and being able to establish and provide the services that they're asking for?
I will. And with the level of involvement that I've had throughout the community, even during COVID times, we were still getting out to the community. I am one of the most active council members in the community. I attend everything, whether it's festivals in the neighborhood, Boy Scout events, events with our Bangladeshi community, I have good relationships with many different community groups and attend on behalf of the city representing them, many different city functions and the like.
What will you do to make Warren a leader in supporting all its residents and bringing innovation to the city's services?
Innovation to city services. We have to first listen to what our people want. So we have to involve them. Public hearings are a great way to encourage the community to participate. They have to be involved. And from it was a business innovation, did you say?
Innovation for city services.
Oh, innovation for the city services. There are so many places that we could improve. I'll call out one in particular that I continue hearing door to door, and that's rentals. Rentals are a tremendous pressure on the city. We are losing some of our community identity to our rentals within the city. And I look at it from a point of, it's a business as well. They need to be inspected, and they need to be inspected correctly. We need to listen to our residents because they say to me, Councilman, what can you do about this rental? Can you get it shut down? I said, well, what have they done? And they tell me, well, there's somebody that lives here and they leave throughout the day and the night. I said, well, what's wrong with that? Well, it's always with some other people and they're bringing people with them and they leave garbage all over the street and they park on my lawn, or there's all sorts of things, and we don't respond. The city doesn't respond. So we need to first listen to the needs of our community, we need to respond, and we need to begin getting tough on enforcing some of our ordinances that we have allowed to go on for far too long.
Okay. And have you established a relationship with your diverse community? And how would you help to improve that relationship?
I have. I continue to meet often with the imams of our Bangladeshi community. We have 9 different mosques in the city of Warren, several of which are in District 2, and I have good relationships with the imams and the leaders of their community. I have good community relations with the Ukrainian Federation, which is also in the heart of my district. The Polish Americans, I'm a member of the Polish American Club. Everything from Knights of Columbus to the Junior Chamber of Commerce. I maintain good relations with all of the community leaders.
Okay. Now this is an opportunity for someone in the audience that may have a question to ask.
You forgot a question.
Huh?
DEI and veterans?
Oh, did I miss that one?
You did.
Okay,
I was ready for that one.
He's going to ask himself.
Well, go ahead and ask.
Councilman Lafferty, will you support the establishment of the DEI? Yes, I will. And I did. We voted on City Council to establish our very first Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. And so not only does it have a commission, but it has a commission head. And that person is appointed by the DEI. Now, we need to not only get that ordinance published on the books, this administration needs to release that ordinance and put it on the books. It's been passed. With the veterans, we also need to have that Veterans Commission ordinance released and published to the books so that we can fill those positions. And we need to have the right people posted to those positions. Yes, this administration has appointed people of color, people of different ethnicities to our commissions, and we can have the same for the DEI, for the Veterans Commission, and keep pushing us towards the future exactly where we need to be, especially with the chair of the DEI, at somebody that's qualified to be in that position to give us the advice that we need in how to improve that image.
Since you have someone that you say is appointed, who is appointed to the Diversity Committee? Because this is the first time.
No, what I was referring to was our present commissions, the Planning Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals, Beautification. Those have a variety of people that have been appointed.
Okay.
The DEI and the veterans, since they are not published, remain off the books and unfilled.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And it sounds like you're doing an excellent job. I just want to make sure that as you continue to do this work, that BIPOC, that community is definitely included. And I heard you say that people of color, but sometimes that people of color, and that might not include African Americans. So when you say people of color, are you talking about Indians? Are you talking about, you know what I mean? I hear the diversity, but I'd like to make sure that we're represented, you know, on that as well.
Of course, and I do include everyone in that, absolutely.
Thank you.
Helen?
As a city council person, now going for your next term,
Yes, ma'am.
the Warren Police Department and the money that Warren is paying out now, I just read yesterday that they settled another suit with for excess police enforcement in the city of Warren. Bill Dwyer, I'm an ex-Detroit police officer. Bill Dwyer came from Detroit, Farmington Hills to you guys there. Are any of these cases in Warren brought before the council before they're settled? Does the council know when there are problems or when there are lawsuits as far as the diversity in the excess force when it comes to law enforcement? It just seems that the citizens and my family that lives in Warren, they don't know when they go to the council meetings and whatnot, and they said, no, they don't tell us that 2 lawsuits were settled by the police department or the water department or what. Do you sit on any of those committees that overlook those monies?
Yes, ma'am. And the city council itself, there are no committees or subcommittees for that matter. The city council is responsible for all settlements, whether it is involving the police, an accident, some sort of insurance claim. We have to be informed, and then we have to make a decision as to how to direct counsel, co-counsel at whatever level of court that it's at, and give them the okay, yes, to settle for X number of dollars, no, go back and continue to push. We think we can do a little better than that. That is how those are done. Those are always handled in closed session. Those are never discussed out in the open. But to your point, you asked, are those records public? Are they published? They are. We have those settlements have to be on our agenda. While the discussions might be privileged with our attorneys or their attorneys, the results of those discussions have to be placed on our regular agenda. They are published and it will be read into the record. Matter of Jane-Doe versus the City of Warren et al., City of Warren Police Department or whomever, and it will say, and as directed during closed session. Now those records are also available via the Freedom of Information Act. So every settlement that we have is public record.
Now, Ms. Mindy Moore, who's looking for running for re-election at Warren City Council District 3.
Thank you for hosting tonight. I'm sorry I'm late. I was in Novi working on a wrongful conviction case. There's a lot of those out there still. There's 10 years, somebody in prison. I am running for re-election in District 3. Just to give you a little bit of my background, I sort of got involved in public service in '97. When my kids were in school, I helped on the millage renewal program, and the next thing you know, I was on the school board, and then I was on planning commission, and then my first term on city council at the at-large position. Then when I was over that, I was on civil service commission, and I got fired because I questioned the administration. I got a little letter saying my services were no longer needed. And then I took off some time I had to make money to put 2 kids through Michigan State. So they're through school, they have good jobs. I have a daughter getting married this fall, and not fall, September. And so I ran again in 19. As you all know, it's been a very tumultuous term for all of us. This has been a very, very active and cohesive, in many respects, council board. We've passed a lot of legislation that is really, really good things that we need to have happen in the city. A diversity, equity, inclusion commission that would appoint a diversity coordinator in the city. Open government ordinance to give transparency to the residents for certain boards and commissions and what the city is doing, agendas. You have to, they're high. It's like, where's Waldo to find anything going on in the city, the minutes and agendas and things like that. And of course, none of these things happen. We have a Veterans Commission that we formed and we voted on, but none of these things are happening because the clerk would not publish any of our ordinances. So we are, more steps behind. We're getting opioid funds every year, and we need to set up a panel. The current mayor sent out, just told people, hey, you're going to get money without any vetting. And we found that's not the right way to go, that we need to have a panel of experts in the community. People are experts in addiction and all kinds of things, and families that are affected, because we need to hear what's going to be effective and what's going to help our city. So we're hoping that in the next term we get a panel together of experts that will guide us on how to make those decisions. Because the council, we have two major functions. It's the budget and legislation. And I've sort of taken the role of taking on the budget and coordinating all the discussions and meetings with whoever we could do. And we've had a difficult time because we have budgeted a lot of things that aren't getting done. A skate park, 2 fire stations, and what else isn't being done?
Everything.
Thank you.
Next up, Councilmember Gary Watts is running in District 4. I know that 3 minutes goes quick.
Wow. I only got 12 pages. So I'm Gary Watts. I currently serve in District 4. I'm on my first 4-year term. I'm a lifelong resident in Warren. I grew up at 8 and Van Dyke, at 8 and Mound. First house was at 8 and Hoover, and then 13 in Hayes. Graduated Fitzgerald, 30 years employee at Macomb Community College, and retired. My strong suits are blight. I want to get the blight problems cleaned up. We got a lot of overgrown grass, and I'm not talking about houses, only houses. I'm talking about city properties. A lot of things going on in this town that we need to clean up and get things viable. The other thing is our downtown. Our downtown used to be 9 and Van Dyke, and it was torn down in the 80s, and nothing's ever been developed down here. 8 Mile to Stevens has been let go. We need to fix that problem. We need to spend some money down here, get some restaurants, some entertainment districts, some things like that going on. It's just, it's unacceptable. Parks and Rec, we need our parks program restored. We need to have recreation programs in the parks for the kids to attend during the summer when they're out of school. And, we're getting a lot of complaints about the restrooms. Restrooms aren't open. There's just a lot of work to do in the parks. We just need to fix the problem. And I'm kind of a bulldog when it comes to that. I don't like the politic way or the government way of doing things. I like the business way. It's just get in there and get it done and make it happen for the people. I'm strong on fire and police. Anybody knows me, I'm a huge backer of police and fire. We're going to build a new fire station right next door here for the south end. And it's going to be a state-of-the-art. It's going to really improve the neighborhood. It'll be a great thing. Now, housing. We've had a lot of talk on this on council. We give away properties all the time for $1. Vacant properties, we sold some houses for $1. I think that we need to take those properties and bring them in, make a housing or land bank, and try to do some things with those to help people build homes, and then to help people become a homeowner rather than a rental. Maybe take some of that money we're using in CBDG funds and things like that and help people with their down payment so they can become a homeowner and, you know, help them improve their life. The other thing are trees. We've cut down a lot of trees and we haven't done anything about it. And we need to plant trees, we need to trim the existing trees. If you drive along our main roadways, there was a program at one time to have a nice tree canopy in this city, and they've all been let go by lack of maintenance, and we need to fix all that stuff. And lastly, what will I do for your community? I'll listen to you just like I listen to everybody in this community. We're all one. And we all need to work together to make things happen. I've done that for the last 4 years. I don't care who calls me, my phone's always on. People are amazed. They call me and they're like, wow, Councilman, you actually answered your phone. That's my job. I'm your council person, so thank you.
Okay, so our next, we only have two more, and then you can answer questions. Henry Newman, come on up, Henry.
So my name is Henry Newman, and I'm running for Warren City Council District 5. Spencer's talk was really great. If you want to know how I want to show up in the community, I want to show up in the community like Spencer was talking about showing up for Mount Clemens. I'm very happy and proud to be here, and proud of being endorsed by the official Macomb County Democratic Black Caucus, as well as the trade unions and the International Union of Painters and Allied Services and AFSCME. How did I get into politics? Well, I really started out with, I became involved with the Sierra Club, which is an environmental organization, the largest in the US. And we were trying to bring the Green Cities program to Warren. So we came to the mayor then, and we asked if the mayor would allow us to have an environmental and energy efficiency advisory committee. The mayor said no. Well, that mayor got voted out, and then the next mayor said yes. And so one of the things that came out of that was energy efficiency in the way of LED streetlights. They did a test project on Martin, and in 1 year they saved $100,000. Well, then, in coming years, the city council passed putting in LED streetlights all over Warren. Just imagine how much money was saved. We could definitely have an ombudsperson for seniors and an ombudsperson for veterans. Lori Stone has had a lot of community conversations, and when she does that, she brings people together who can help seniors and veterans. And when I've knocked on 4,500 doors with my campaign manager this election cycle, and people are telling me, I'm talking to seniors that are isolated, they're ill, they don't have the help they need. It's basically elder neglect on our part that we're not looking out after them. And so this is something that I got involved because of the environment. We want more greenways, we want more trees, but people are tired of having 50-year-old trees that have limbs that are rotten, the whole tree is rotten, and they have to call the mayor's office in order to get it taken care of if it's on city property. If they just call the department, they can wait 4 years waiting for somebody to show up. This isn't right. We really need a change of pace in Warren, I'm telling you. When it comes to showing up, my cell phone number is on my literature. I want the people of Warren, especially in District 5, to call me if they have a problem or if they have a suggestion for how Warren can be a more welcoming and friendly place. So I've been meeting with black people, Bengali people, lots of white people, Republicans, Democrats, and getting, by and large, a very positive response. And I look forward to serving everybody to the very best of my ability. Well, my time is up. I'm Henry Noonan, I'm running for Warren City Council District 5. Vote for me. Your vote, your choice.
How you doing, everyone? Thanks for coming. Thank you for inviting me to your forum. My name's Randy Hall. I've only lived in the city of Warren for about 8 years, but I've worked in and out of the city of Warren for 40. The people that I knew when I used to work here 20, 30 years ago used to be proud of the city. Most of the people in my neighborhood are totally discouraged and disappointed with how the city's been acting over the last 5 to 6 years. And that was what encouraged me to run and try and make a change in the city of Warren. Because I like to be proud of where I live and where I work. And a lot of the citizens in the city of Warren have lost that because they're not proud of where they're at and where our city's at. And as a total newcomer to the political game, I think that with my work experience and life experience, I can help the city of Warren move forward because I have new ideas, not the same old politics that everybody else has brought to the table in the past.
Okay. Mr. Hall, do you promise to work for a new city charter?
Absolutely. There's quite a few things in the current city charter that need to be changed. There's a lot of exclusion, and we need to have inclusion for everybody in the city of Warren.
Do you promise to have 4 community conversations a year?
Absolutely.
At least?
I'm out in the neighborhood every day. I've been on my own since I moved into Warren. I take care of 7 or 8 elderly families on my street. I mow their grass, I plow their snow, and I do it free of charge. If they need house repairs done, I do it at cost. And I do the same thing for all the veterans.
What will you do to make Warren a leader in supporting all its residents and bringing innovation to the city services?
The main thing that we need to do is we need to get everybody together and stop excluding different ethnicities and people of color. We're all people. You know, we all have the same blood. All this color stuff and you came from here and you came from there, people don't want to hear that anymore.
Okay, based on that, what you're saying, how have you established a relationship with diverse community, and what will you do to improve that relationship?
I don't know that I can improve what I've already done. I've reached out to different 7 or 8 of the different ethnicities that are in the city of Warren. The Asians, the Chaldeans, the Bangladeshis, the Ukrainians. Half of my votes I got from the Ukrainians. So on the primary, they just want a new voice in city council, and I think I can give that to them.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Don't be shy now.
If you got a question, put it out there.
If not, I want to thank you, Mr. Hall.
Not a problem.
And our next candidate would be Mr. Jonathan.